Hello, my name is Kirk. I'm a professional therapist in Portland, Oregon, and I'm happy to be able to share some really important information with you as a guest here on Mental Help Desk. Today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of self-talk and how to tell the difference between shame, guilt, humiliation, and embarrassment. This comes directly from the Daring Way curriculum, which is based on the work of Dr. Brené Brown. When I start talking about shame, folks usually have a visceral reaction to the word. And that's one of the reasons that it's so pervasive in our lives, because we shrink when we hear it. We try to dodge it, we pretend that we don't have it, or we pretend that it has nothing to do with us. And the truth is, everybody has shame, and the less we talk about it, the more we have it. There's no way to overcome things in your life if you can't even utter the words. So, alert, I'm going to be saying the word shame a lot in this video. One of the things that's so tricky about identifying shame is what I just mentioned. It's about knowing the differences between shame, guilt, humiliation, and embarrassment. We often use these words interchangeably in our culture, but there's a huge difference. Research over the last 12 years has demonstrated that people who had the highest level of shame resilience, and by shame resilience, I don't mean that they were able to avoid shame altogether or that they were a more perfect person, because we know that shame is impossible to avoid and that a more perfect person doesn't exist. So what I do mean by shame resilience is that these folks were able to identify shame self-talk. They were able to know when it was happening, what triggered it, and what they needed to do to move through it with authenticity, courage, and self-compassion. These folks who showed that they had the highest levels of shame resilience, they had a few things in common, and one of them is that they could tell the difference between these four self-conscious affects that I'm about to explain. So first, I'm going to kind of untangle shame and guilt. And the most direct and easiest way to talk about that is that shame is I am bad, whereas guilt is I did something bad. Shame is a focus on self, whereas guilt is a focus on behavior. So say you've been invited to attend a birthday party of a really good friend. You've been planning to go for weeks. Your friend is really excited to share the day with you. And the day of the party, you get caught up with some coworkers. You have a few too many drinks, and you realize that you've completely missed your friend's birthday party. If your immediate self-talk is, I'm such a terrible friend, I'm awful, I'm such a loser, that's shame. And if, in the same scenario, if your self-talk is, I can't believe I did that, that was such a crappy thing to do, that's guilt. Now, a lot of people want to reduce this to semantics. Shame, guilt, I am bad, I did something bad, who cares how I said it in my head? Well, our self-talk has a profound impact on us and on our relationships. And shame is highly, highly correlated to aggression, addiction, depression, suicide, eating disorders. Whereas guilt, the ability to separate who we are from our actions without ripping away at our worth, guilt is inversely correlated to these same outcomes. So as awkward as it may be, the more we can use guilt self-talk, the less likely we will be associated with some of these outcomes. So as you can see, there's a tremendous difference. So the next one's humiliation, and there's only one ingredient that separates shame and humiliation, and that's deserving. With humiliation, you get the same physical response as shame. Your palms get sweaty, heart races, you want to puff up or maybe get really, really small. A great example that Brené Brown uses is a teacher is handing back papers in a classroom and one of the students doesn't have their name on the paper, and the teacher calls this kid stupid. If that child's self-talk is immediately, that's the meanest, most nastiest teacher ever, I didn't deserve that, what the child's probably experiencing is humiliation. And as a parent or a caregiver, I'm going to hear about it when that kid gets home because they're going to be angry and they're going to be hurt and they're going to want to share it. However, if this child's self-talk is immediately, she's so right. I'm so stupid. Why do I keep forgetting to put my name on the paper? I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. As a parent or caregiver, I'm not going to hear about it because that child believes they're stupid and there's nothing to tell. And so that's what makes shame so dangerous. So the last one, embarrassment. It's often funny, it's brief, but the most distinctive feature of embarrassment is that it doesn't leave you feeling utterly alone in the way that shame does. So if I go out to lunch with some coworkers and I'm trying to impress them, and in the middle of lunch I realize there's a big, gigantic piece of kale stuck on my front tooth, I'm likely able to laugh it off and move on because I know that I'm not the only person in the world who's had food stuck on their teeth before. And shame, it's not funny. And shame leaves you feeling utterly, utterly alone and isolated. So I hope that this helps you to start seeing some patterns in your own self-talk and that it supports you to start speaking some shame. If you need more support or you're seeking information on how to work through some shame, how to identify it, you can contact me through my website, which is rootstockcounseling.com, and I will help you get connected to the right person so that you can get the support that you deserve. Thanks for listening.